Well, I wasn't planning on doing this, but I think I'm going to. Let me, because I know this is a challenging book, and in the end, I really loved it. It's a book that's going to stay with me for a long time. But I do know not every book is for every reader. And so what I want to hear from you, each of you, is what kind of reader do you think would appreciate this book? That you would recommend it to them? Not across the board. Not saying everybody should read this book, because that I think is clearly not true. But what kind of reader do you think, Cam, would like this book and appreciate what Gordon has done?
I think somebody who is cerebral, somebody who likes a challenge, will enjoy the book. It's not like the type of fiction that I normally read.
Right.
I normally read stuff where there's a protagonist who kind of drags you along with them through the plot, to some kind of final conclusion that presents a certain amount of satisfaction, which is why I read those kinds of books. But,
And which is why you emailed me and said, what the hell have you asked me to read?
This one, you have to enjoy, like for example, in my job, I have to approach subjects that I don't know much about and learn an enormous amount about them.
In a short period of time.
In a short period of time to be successful in what I do. When I read an ordinary novel, I don't find myself having to look up phrases, looking up names, looking up, in this book, I found myself frequently going to the internet to look up names, look up references, try to figure out what time period we were in. For example, there's a reference to Disraeli, which I thought was Cream's second album, Disraeli Years. But when I looked it up, it's actually a politician from the late 1800s. It refers to a certain amount of complexity because Disraeli was into very complex schemes.
Yes.
And so what was fascinating to me was how much information, how much historic reference is packed into this book.
Yeah.
And so people who like that kind of thing will really, really enjoy this, but people who are looking for a crime novel are probably not going to get into this.
They're not. This is a book, and I'll come back to you, Jan, but this is a book that on the second, third read becomes richer and richer to where you start to understand and see more clearly what she's doing from the get-go. You can read it, multiple times, even though you know what happens. You find early on. Jan, who do you think should read this book?
Yeah. So it's funny because I used to be in a book club of the Sisterhood of Traveling Fans. We had a sisterhood of books. So
You drank wine.
We would because all of my best friends moved to separate parts of the country, and so we do send books to each other. And I started initially sending books like this.
Yeah.
And it was a disaster. No one liked it. They would send it in a couple weeks, and I knew they hadn't read it, kind of thing. So I think this book is better for writers or readers of writers.
Yeah.
So people who are looking for sort of learning more about the craft and language and things. And I just felt like, even for me, I love that stuff, but it took me a while to get it, and I was like, I should have to not use quotations.
The quotation marks. Did you find? I was curious. Did you find that you eventually became into the rhythm we talked about? That even without the quotation marks, because Cormac McCarthy, for example, doesn't use quotation marks, and I find it very effective. Here it was a little more challenging, but did you find yourself
because he doesn't
slipping
have
into
a
that?
dialect also. I feel like people who drop punctuation or change syntax typically stick with kind of the structure that people understand.
Yeah.
But this did both,
She
which
does
made
both.
it your brain has to relearn the language, which it can do fairly quickly. It just means you have to stick
Fairly
with it.
quickly around page 212. That was my experience. Fairly quickly around 212.
I think that's why I identified with Maggie, because her language is much more it's much more normal.
Yes,
And
right.
so when I hit her, I'm like, I get you.
Yes,
I know what you're saying.
Right.
That's great.
I have lots of different ways of approaching this book because I also found it challenging, which had to do with the sort of puzzle part. So I think
Christine, because you're a relief, I can't tell you the relief. I think you have the three of them.
Hey,
They're like,
I'm a
so good.
medievalist. I read things in Old and Middle English, and
Okay,
I was
way to
like,
brag.
WTF.
Right, thank you. Great.
So, I mean, this was work. So part of it is, but what I do is I always ask, why am I being asked to work, right? So, why are the quotation marks not there? What does it mean about how I have to experience what's going on? And I think I don't have as many answers for that as I do about why I need to work to understand what medicine ed is saying.
Right.
But so for me, the thing that I would say I agree with you. Like it's about people who enjoy writing and who enjoy language, who are arrested by the way that a phrase is written, and who just like that's just exquisite.
Right.
The people who just enjoy words for themselves, I think this is a work that is very poetic. For me, the way that I got through it when things felt frustrating, because for me, I know nothing about horse racing whatsoever. I was raised Mennonite, so I mean, it's so beyond anything. I know about horses, but not about racing or gambling, right? So exactly, right? So for me, the way that I got through it was I had a little life raft of obscure references that she was making to philosophy. I was like, oh, I know about this 17th century philosopher. I know nothing about, Virginian horse racing, but it's Spinoza, right? And I can make some connections to the themes.
Right.
And so I found myself really interested in her use of references to philosophical ideas, right? Like how I brought up Lady Fortune. Spinoza is a 17th century philosopher who thinks
Lord of
about
Misrule.
fate.
Tell us about Lord of Misrule.
Yeah.
You know this.
Yeah, so the other thing is, so one of the horses is named Spinoza, another one is named Lord of Misrule, and the Lord of Misrule is part of the Christmas festivities in Catholic Europe, where in the days leading up to Christmas, which was much more of a carnival time, you would have a kind of upside down time where the most insignificant person would be made the Lord. And so
Feast of
similar,
Fools, right?
yes. And so the Lord of Misrule would be like the boy bishop, or the servant would be made the master. And so when he comes, it becomes the moment in which everything is flipped upside down.
Right.
But Misrule is always temporary. That moment of chaos that turns our values and expectations upside down is a moment of release that always just returns us back to the status quo to some extent.
Which really feeds into
She's so smart.
the hot walker.
Exactly.
I'll tell you what. There is a scene at the end of this book that I'm careful where it takes place in a defunct part of the racetrack that I thought. I mean, it was creepy as hell, and I really felt the influence of the Lord of Misrule, where what turns upside down, it's for Maggie. Everything turns upside down for Maggie, right? That's where everything changes for her. And I thought it was one of the most striking, stark depictions that I read. I mean, I was really creeped out. It was almost terrifying, where I was like, oh my God, Maggie, you need to get out of there.
Go, Maggie, go.
Go!
You in danger, girl.
Get out of there, you're in danger!
Yeah.
All right.
But
yeah.
before you move on, one thing
Yes.
I wanted to say was, the type of reader who will like this book is the type of reader who's going to walk away from the book knowing more than when they came to the book.
Yes.
I walked away with an awful lot of knowledge that I did not have when I came to the book.
Yeah, and what I can tell you is that, because I've read it a couple times, and on the second read, everything it's greased. She's greased it for you, and you understand, I'm there. And you can read it without some of the frustration that we've talked about with the lack of quotations and the jargon, because you're there. She's actually created the world in your mind, and so when you revisit it, it's a place you know and people that you know, and the reading is much more smooth in a sense. You're not working as hard, and I think that's a remarkable achievement. But again, not every reader is looking for that. You know what I mean? So
It's about the language. You feel disoriented the first time, but I think that the reason I would go back would be to savor the language.
yes.